I will prove to you that what you think is your reality is actually created by your brain. You see the world around you and you think you have a good grasp on reality. I bet that you believe you can tell what is real or not. But I will show you that it's the other way around. Your brain decides what is real and what is not real and convinces you that some things are real and some things are just in your imagination. But if that is the case, then what is real? Humor me for a second and clap your hands. I'm going to do it as well, but it's important that you do it yourself. Clap your hands and pay close attention to the sound of the clap. You may want to pause the video and do it yourself. Pay attention to the quality of the sound you hear, the sharpness of the sound the clap makes. Clap until you know the sound so well that you have it committed entirely to your memory. This is important. I'm going to clap again, and you should do too, and see if by now you know exactly what to expect. You can tell exactly how the clap will sound. Okay, so now that you know the sound well, reproduce it in your mind. Close your eyes and remember the clap sound as well as you can. Now, feel free to clap again so you know exactly how this is supposed to sound. And then immediately imagine the same sound, the same exact sound. Let's do it again. We will clap and immediately remember the same sound. Now, think about the sound in your head. I want you to notice that the sound of the actual clap and the sound of the remembered clap are actually quite different. Do it again. Clap with your hands and then imagine the same exact sound you just heard and see how they do not sound the same in your head. You know they are the same sound, but they don't really sound the same. For most people, the clap in the mind sounds more muffled. It lacks the sharpness of the actual clap. We never question this. We are so used to it that we never notice it. But it is weird, isn't it? You just heard the clap. You know exactly how it sounds. But then, why does it sound different when you try to remember it? You just asked your mind to give you the sound, that sound, and yet it gave you something else, a dimmer, lesser version of the actual thing. Now, you may be thinking, of course the sounds would be different. I heard the actual clap with my ears, and I did not hear the imagined clap with my ears. The sound that my ears make is different from the sound my mind imagines. Oh, but there you are missing something. What you hear is not made by your ears. Your ears receive sound waves and send the information to your brain. Your brain makes the sound you hear. Don't forget that. Any sound you ever hear is made by your brain. So your brain is the one making the sound you hear with the actual clap, and your brain is the one making the sound you hear with the imagined clap. And there, my friends, the brain reveals itself as the master of our reality. You see, the sound the brain gives you already comes labeled as real or not real. You asked your brain to give you the exact clap sound. You remembered it perfectly. You had just heard it. And yet, your brain gave you something else. It gave you something similar, but muffled just enough so that you know it is imagined. You're programmed to think the sharp sound of the actual clap is the sound of a real thing, and the dimmed sound of the imagined clap is the sound of the imagined thing. Even though you wanted to reproduce the exact sound in your mind, you couldn't. Your brain did not let you. Every sound your brain gives you comes with a label, real or not real. Your brain is programmed so that if the stimulus is from a physical source, the sound you hear will be sharp. It will sound real. But if the source is your imagination or your memory, the sound you will hear will be muffled. It will sound imagined. Every sound in your head is infused with a quality you recognize as real or not real. There is no agnostic sound. When you perceive sound, that is, when your brain gives you the perception that is sound, it gives you at the same time another piece of information you didn't necessarily ask for. It tells you if the sound comes from a physical source or from an imagined source. And it's not just with sound. Every sensation you feel in your body, touch, heat, every taste in your mouth, every smell, every image, all are given to you by your brain, and they are given to you already labeled. You can try it out and you will see. Look at an image, look at it attentively, then close your eyes and remember it. Even if you remember it completely, in every possible detail, it will not look the same as the physical image. The colors will be muted, the sharpness will be lost, something will be different. You will know it is the same image, but it will be different enough so that you are not confused that this one was created by your memory or your imagination. You can do the same for touch. You can touch your skin and immediately imagine that touch, and you will not be able to reproduce the exact sensation. Even if you know it is supposed to be the same sensation, it does not feel the same. You can try with tastes and smells, but it's a bit harder because those tend to linger, but the point is the same. Let me be clear, because some of you may be thinking, of course an actual physical touch would feel different from an imagined touch. But why should it? It is your brain that gives you the feeling either way. Your brain is the one that gives you the actual feeling of physical touch. It is within its power to give you the same sensation when you imagine it. But it doesn't. When you imagine the touch, it gives you the imagined version. Your brain serves you your entire experience of reality. It literally gives you every perception you have. But as it gives you the perception, it also tells you real or not real. It serves you the perception already with the quality that reveals whether it comes from a physical source, because you actually saw an image or you were actually touched, or whether it comes from a mind source, because you imagined or remembered the image or the touch. But your brain can give you imagined images with the same quality as the physical thing. In fact, your brain does that every time you dream. When you are dreaming, it all seems real. Why? Because the quality of your perceptions in a dream is the same as when you are awake. Whatever you see in your dreams looks real. Even though you are not physically looking at anything because your eyes are actually closed, you see just as if you were awake. Images look real. The same is true for other senses. So your brain is somehow programmed when you are in the awake state of consciousness to give you only the perceptions that come from a physical source with a real quality. And it gives you all the perceptions that come from an imagined source with the unreal quality. But in the sleep state of consciousness, your brain operates under different rules. So it can operate under different rules. Now, as a side note, I do not know whether this is the case or not, but I think what happens with schizophrenic people is that their brain fails at the labeling. It sometimes serves imagined images with the real quality instead of the imagined unreal quality. It fails to muffle them so the person thinks what they see or hear is real. But returning to our point, why does the labeling matter? Why does the quality difference in the way we perceive things matter? Because of the following reason. Now, pay attention because this is a bit subtle. The fact that the brain labels things as real and unreal matters because it makes two very different versions of the world be observationally equivalent. What I mean here is that there are two possibilities of the way the world is that are entirely compatible with your experience of reality, but they are very different and have very different implications to how you live life. One possibility is the one you probably think is the way the world is right now. That would be a materialist view. This possibility says that the physical world exists and is completely different from the imagined world. What you can touch, what you can see, these are real things that exist in some fundamental sense and are completely different from the things you imagine. The things you imagine are not real. So, the things you can touch now are real, and the things you think about, the things that only appear in your mind, are not real. But there is an alternative possibility, and that is that your entire reality is created by your brain. There is no inherent difference between the things you can touch and see right now and the things your mind gives you. All are things your mind gives you. But your mind gives you some things with a quality that seems physical, real, and some things with a quality that seems imagined, not real. We already know your mind is capable of that. We know for a fact that your brain is the one that forms the images you see, the sound you hear, the tastes, smells, and touch. If you lost the connection between the body part and the brain, you would lose the sensation altogether. If you became a tetraplegic, you could be touched below your neck and you would feel nothing. If you got COVID and it affected your smell neurons, you would smell nothing. It's the same for all senses. If the connection to the brain is damaged, there is no perception. So if you see anything at all, if you hear, smell, taste, and touch anything in this world, it is thanks to your brain that you have these perceptions at all. Then why can't the brain be making it all up? We assume there is a physical world and the brain only makes sense of it, but it is also possible there is no physical world that is separate from the imagined world. Any distinction is your brain's fabrication. I mean, when you are dreaming, everything seems completely real, and yet when you wake up, you realize that a lot was absurd. What, can you fly? Can you lose all your teeth in an instant? Why are you naked in the street? And if you take a psychedelic trip, then very surreal things can seem completely real. What is the explanation? One possibility is that DMT somehow allows you to override both the blocks on your imagination and on the brain's labeling system that says that your imagination is not real. So now all your imagination can run wild and it will seem real even if it is not. But another possibility is that all reality is imagined. It is all in your mind. Your brain creates what you perceive as your reality by blocking most things and only allowing some types of experiences to enter your awareness as real. So everything that seems physical is what your brain allowed you to experience in full perception. You are protected from the unbearable immensity of all possibilities by the unreal label. Your brain muffles every other aspect of reality so you don't contend with it, and you can process just enough, experience just enough that you can bear it. And when you take a psychedelic trip or when you get really good at meditation, your brain allows more in. It blocks less of all the possibilities, and so you can perceive more than you thought possible, and therefore you can experience more of reality. So, which possibility is true? Is the materialist view the correct one, and so the physical world is inherently different from the imagined world? And when you take a psychedelic trip, or when you get better at meditation, your imagination just gets more vivid and the unreal label weakens. So by taking the psychedelic or by learning advanced meditation, you are simply causing your mind to create very vivid hallucinations. If that is true, then all the energy healing arts, all the esoteric things are just people's wild imagination. None of that is real. I mean, it could have real effects because of placebo effects. People believing these things makes them work. But in a fundamental sense, it would all be made up. There is no chi, there are no spirits, there are no angels, there are no gods. Or it is all real as anything else. All possibilities, all things you can conceive potentially exist. And the reason you cannot experience these things as real in your life is because your brain does not let you. It blocks most things completely outside of your perception, and then only a small part in. Now, what it lets in is still a lot. It's very hard to take in. So it also tacks the label of real and unreal. So you exist in this world in a dual way, with part of your existence being in the real world, where you perceive some things are real because your brain gives them to you with a sharp quality that tells you it is real. Everything that comes from a physical source, whatever you perceive to be physical, is given to you with the quality of reality. And then you have this other world you can also inhabit, where more things are possible, your imagination. But so you can bear it, your brain clearly separates this world, labeling it as unreal, so you can withstand this existence with more ease. There is a world where you have a body, and there are physical rules connecting all things, and the rules are immutable. You operate as if this world is real. And another world where many rules can be broken, but you don't fully perceive that world. The perception is somewhat muffled. So, under the second possibility, all is real. All exists. You are completely blocked off from most of what exists. Then you can imagine a big chunk, but you're protected from a system collapse because you don't take any of that seriously. You think these things are not real, they're just imagined. And then you can perceive completely a tiny part of reality where rules of engagement are pretty stable and you can take it in. Now, which is it? I know what I believe and I have my reasons, but ultimately it is a matter of belief. The two possibilities are observationally equivalent, meaning whether the materialist view is true or this idealist view is true, the world will look exactly as it does anyway. If you like this content, remember to like, subscribe, and recommend this channel to other people who may also enjoy it. The almighty algorithm can take a long time to find the right public for this type of content, so anything you can do to help this really helps us. I wish you all the best in this path. and I hope to see you soon in my next video.